Good afternoon, St. Louis, and welcome into the Randy Carricker Show featuring Brooke Grimsley on STL Sports Central, presented by our friends at DraftKings Sportsbook, where the crown is yours. I'm sure you're wondering where everyone is. I just got to say, at this point, this show is kind of like a Blues fourth liner because we're backups and we are named Matthew Joseph. So that's what we got today on the show. We got plenty to talk about, an absolutely jammed-packed weekend in sports, not just in St. Louis sports. We're going to go a little bit national because we have a little bit of NHL news locally, but we also have some huge NHL news from just earlier today as Connor McDavid has shaken up everyone's expectations before the season even starts. MLB, obviously, we have the playoffs, but we're looking at managers as the Cardinals, again, a former Cardinal, is moving on to another organization, and you also have some hot seats brewing over on the East Coast, and then plenty of things are happening in a wild college football weekend that me and Joe previewed, and a lot of the things we talked about that could have happened ended up happening. So it was a wild weekend to break down. Joe Roderick, how are you doing today, sir?
Doing good. Brendan and I earlier today, you could find our we just wrapped up a 365 about an hour or two ago. That's available also on the STL Sports Central YouTube page, so people can check that out. And looking forward to talking some football.
We have the Blues opening up on Thursday. There's a little bit of NHL news, but I think we'll start with some of this Cardinals news. And by the way, of course, as we always do on this show, please jump into the chat. Let us know your questions and comments. I have it on the title. We're going to talk about, again, Skip Schumaker and potentially the Yankees moving on from their manager. We're going to talk about the NHL, Connor McDavid, a little bit of some Blues questions. I haven't seen anything definitive on the potential injury for Oscar Sundqvist. So we that's still up in the air, but it could change things going forward. And then again, a lot of college football. So the first thing I do want to jump into is, let's hear it, Bubs. Thursday Night Football, Rams and Avalanche partnership was not a good look. Also, the fake fan noise at SoFi Stadium and a Rams loss was so sweet. It's crazy, Joe. I've had a lot of people send me that picture or that video from the Avalanche players at SoFi. There's a lot of people that are taking that as a way to kind of tee off on Kroenke, which I'm fine with, but it didn't really jump out as that galling to me in the long list of things that Kroenke has done.
I mean, I tweeted this out the other day when it came out, talking about this. It's sad that they have to pump in this fake crowd noise for all of these great football fans out there in Los Angeles that we were told just had this great fan base there. If only they had like some sort of rules to teach the fans how to go about cheering for the team, letting them know like what to do if the quarterback gets tackled behind the line of scrimmage, or maybe you know what pace they should clap at before a kickoff, just things like that. And maybe then they wouldn't have to pump in the fake crowd noise because they would have all of that already set and ready to go.
And thankfully, I know to do those things at a football game because of the Rams rules. Joe, there's just certain things that you'll never forget from the time that the Rams were here in St. Louis. And I think Rams rules has to be up there with Four Pillars and The Greatest Show on Turf, both the good and the bad when you think about it.
I'm looking here, like if the Rams rules is still available out on YouTube somewhere, and it's not, like you could find it, like somebody had posted it, almost 190,000 views. The Rams rules was 14 years ago. 14 years ago. It does not seem like it was that long ago for the Rams rules.
I hope that's taught in classes on like how to not do marketing.
Right.
Like after you finish the class that the NFL teaches you about how not to market to women by not making just pink jerseys and things like that, I hope the next seminar is how not to market to your fans like they're 6-year-old morons.
What's really crazy about that too is all of the people that were involved in making the Rams rules are like they did not, nobody lost, like they all went to LA, like nobody really lost a job. Like Kevin Demoff still is running things at the Rams. After that, they're just coasting by with an incredible stadium. That's what it is.
All right, let's talk about an actual successful franchise in St. Louis, the Cardinals. We've got some movement going on.
Some would disagree with that, I think, right now.
I don't know what you're talking about, Joe. Those people certainly aren't watching this. comments if you think I'm wrong about that. Anyhow, we have somebody already commenting on my headline writing, which is fair. I am being a gotcha right on this one. The Cardinals didn't miss out on Skip because they never showed any interest in hiring him. This is another thing that a lot of people sent me that I got over the weekend. Obviously, Skip Schumaker taking over as the manager for the Rangers. We already had the apoplectic fallout from the Albert Pujols to the Angels news that actually hasn't happened yet. So we can still gonna have a second round of that, but now we get skipped to the Rangers. And again, we already did this when Skip went to the Marlins. So round 2 of this whole thing. Any reaction for you to seeing what felt like the inevitable?
I think we all knew that was going to happen in that way when they hired Skip Schumaker to the front office a few years ago. Like, I think we all knew, right? Oh, hey, he's taking over for Bruce Bochy whenever that ends.
Why shouldn't he?
Yeah, I just there's no ties there that I think we know of between the Rangers and Skip. I think the Rangers were thinking proactively when they saw the good job that Skip did in Miami and hired him because they had a veteran manager. Bruce Bochy is got to be, is he 70? Because he's been doing this for a really, really long time. And even before that, he was, Bruce Bochy is 70 years old, exactly 70 years old. You know that you have to make a change at some point with that. Like, it's inevitable. Like, Ali Marmol's not even 40 yet. So the Cardinals could not bring Skip into a front office job in that manner and say, yeah, hey, this is our manager in waiting, for the guy that's the, manager in waiting for the same manager. It's the same age as our current manager. Like, they were never going to do that. Where the Rangers were in a place where they could. And I think they saw, hey, this guy took the Marlins to a playoff. This guy was manager of the year. We want him in our system. And again, I agree with whatever the commenter said there. Was he was never, he was never in the Cardinals. They never showed any interest. I think the interest was there. I think if Skip was a free agent and Ali was doing a terrible job, I think that would be number one, your number one target. Ali's done a really good job. You couldn't bring Skip into that role that the Rangers did. It's wrong time, wrong place for this.
Can I play a little hypothetical game?
Yeah.
Let's rewind a week and let's say that we have multiple open jobs out there. So right now in addition to the so we have the Rangers, the Braves. Let's say the Cardinals job was also open, and then you had the Giants. If those 4 jobs were all open, in your opinion, which one? How do you rank those in? What somebody would want on the open market as a manager?
Give me those again. Rangers, Giants, Cardinals.
Rangers, Giants, Braves, Cardinals.
I'm going to go Braves number 1.
Okay.
On that. As far as star power goes, I think Braves are extremely loaded right now. So I think that is number 1. Braves are number 1. Giants are number 2. Rangers number 3. I was trying to think if I would go Rangers over Giants. Giants number 2, Rangers 3, Cardinals 4.
Oof.
You're talking managerial openings right now. The Cardinals have come out and said that this is a rebuild. They've used those words. It's a rebuild. You have a new GM in here. And of those 4 teams, that is the smallest payroll. You could sit here and you can name 3 stars on every single one of those teams, other 3 teams you made. Name me who the 3 biggest stars are on the Cardinals. That would come close to, if we're gonna go Braves, Spencer Strider, Ronald Acuna, and I'll throw in Riley. There too.
Before or after I trade away number 1 and 2. Is this my list before or after I trade away number 1 and 2? Because my list would be Sonny, Avon, and Wilson. I know Mason. Ugh. Mason, Sonny,
Ron Herrera,
Mason,
Brendan
Sonny, and
Donovan.
Yvonne.
Brendan Donovan. I'm not going any of the pitchers. I'm not putting Sonny above. I'm not putting Sonny above Brendan Donovan, Mason Wynn, or Ivan Herrera.
Yeah, that's fair. That'd be your top 3.
Or Wilson Contreras. Wilson Contreras number 4.
That's why I was asking if is this before or after I trade them away.
Yeah. Sonny Gray would maybe number 5. So yeah, so you're telling if you want to look at star power on those 3 teams, for that star power on the Rangers, you have Simeon, you have Seager, you have DeGrom, with a lot of young players on that team too that have actually shown up and played well in their short time. Giants, you have Devers out there. You have a few others in San Francisco as well. They have a pretty decent pitching staff. Yeah, there's absolutely no way in hell that I think the Cardinals aren't even in the conversation to be number 3 in that. Like, Cardinals are so far down in number 4 there. Like, I mean, Cardinals are down there. Like, I think if you're looking at it, like job openings right now,
this is what I'm saying.
Like, who's more attractive right now in a job opening between the Baltimore Orioles and the St. Are the Baltimore Orioles? I think would be a more, if the both jobs were open right now, the Baltimore Orioles would be more attractive, I think, than the Cardinals' current state.
And thank you so much, because this is exactly where I was going to take this. Right now, that's right there. The Cardinals are 4 out of 4. If we expand it to 5 and you add the Orioles in, Cardinals are 5 out of 5. We expand it to 6, add the Twins in, Cardinals are 6 out of 6. You extend it to 7, and it's the Yankees because you think Brett Boone's going to be fired, and now all of a sudden we're looking at an 8th team with an opening that we would quantify as better than the Cardinals. Now, we could probably say the Nationals, the Rockies, the Angels are probably all worse situations than the Cardinals. We can agree with that one.
Angels, probably, yeah.
Rockies and Nationals.
Yeah, the Cardinals are a better job than Rockies and Nationals do. Nationals, you have CJ Abrams, you have James Wood out there. Who's their other first round draft pick? Cruz. Is Dylan Cruz? Is that their outfielder out there in Washington? Yeah. So you do have some young studs out there. I will say this: if the Yankees tomorrow have the, I think it's the 7:00 game right now. Brett Boone might be fired before midnight if the Yankees lose tomorrow.
Why? I mean, I understand that New Yorkers have been pretty fed up with him for a couple of years now, and they've given him some length of rope. And so it's always funny when that the final yank on that rope comes because of a bad playoff loss. But I guess it wouldn't surprise me that much with kind of how it's been building up over the years with him. But it is,
that's what it is. I think the blowouts that the amount they've got blown up in these first 2 games of this series are reasons enough to just be done with it and give yourself an excuse with it. You lose 10-1 in the first game, and in the second game, they were down at one point. Was it 13? I think 12 to 7, but 12 to nothing. They were down 12 to nothing in the second game, to where I got in my car yesterday and put it on the radio, and the score is on the radio. And there's sometimes like Sirius XM will connect through my phone into my car and it'll play the game there. I really thought when I saw that the Yankees were getting blown out, I thought maybe that Sirius XM just hadn't updated yet and it was still playing the game from the day before. Because that's how shocked I was at the fact that they're getting blown out again.
Is that what it felt like to be Joe yesterday? Just all of a sudden, you're like, wait, what the hell's happening?
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. I was like 12. I was like, wait, no, they thought they scored a run yesterday. And I was like, no, that's today's game.
No.
And then you hear that there's a 22-year-old on the mound for the Blue Jays that's throwing a no-hitter. Like, it was, I couldn't believe. The next thing I thought, I was like, could Aaron Boone be fired mid-series?
That would be a first. I at least probably that's sounds like something that happened in like the 1940s. But it is interesting to me just like going, even if he does get the whack after this, just the fact that when you put it in this context that the Cardinals are not just overall jobs in baseball, but like we're quantifying it just open jobs in baseball as maybe the 7th or 8th best. That maybe that I know the timelines aren't perfect, and you can point out, well, this job wouldn't have opened up here, and the Yankees job wouldn't have opened up, but it puts maybe a little context for me around the decision to just say, you know what, we have a young manager who's shown a lot under contract. Why rock the boat? Why not try to see what we have with him one more year? And,
For sure.
Let him grow with the team here. Like again, because it would have been to get into the muck and try to beat out the Orioles and the Braves and the Twins for, you know, one of the top managerial prospects. That would have been, you know, I'm sure Heim would have taken that with you know, all the aplomb in the world, but it's a fight you don't want to get into because, to your point, you're probably going to lose it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's, again, like you have a guy who's doing a good job. Let him continue to play it out. Like there's nobody out there right now that I think you could say like, oh yeah, if this was your manager, you would turn around and you'd be a playoff team next year. And let me go one step further. We were naming like who the top stars are. Like I think at this point, like I'm putting JJ Weatherholt in front of Sonny Gray.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Come on. You can't do that.
Yeah.
Because no. You can't do that because right now, if Sonny Gray was on a different team. Oh, wait, never mind. Okay, hold on a second. If Sonny Gray was on a different team and the Cardinals offered JJ Weatherholt straight up for Sonny Gray, would most teams say yes?
No.
Well,
no.
Well, then doesn't that kind of quantify it for you? If you wouldn't take him straight up, then how are you putting him above him right now?
Wait, which way are you saying it? Like you're saying if the Cardinals were going out there and they needed Sonny, if they were looking for a starting pitcher and the best offer they could get was Sonny Gray, and the GM on the other line said, okay, yeah, we'll send you Sonny Gray. You have to send us JJ Weatherholt. Heim Bloom would hang that phone up immediately.
Yeah, but I'm saying if
there are a lot of pitchers in baseball that you could justify that for. Just Sonny Gray is not on that list.
I understand, but man, I just feel like taking a guy who's going to give you 180 innings and 200 strikeouts and saying I'm going to take a guy who's never seen a pitch in Major League Baseball. That seems like a lot of teams wouldn't make that risk. The Cardinals in their current situation should, but if you're just talking about evaluating baseball talent right now, taking a guy who has a second in a Cy Young on his belt and just had another 200 strikeout season and saying I would trade him straight up for a guy who's never taken a pitch in Major League Baseball. I'm not saying you're wrong for doing it. I'm not saying a developing team would be wrong to make that decision. I'm saying most teams in baseball and just pure baseball talent, you can't make that call yet.
Let me take it this route then with you on this. The playoffs started last week on the September 30th, right? That's when the playoffs started. Would you trade right now? Do you think the Tigers would trade Tarek Skubal for JJ Weatherholt?
Sorry,
no.
No. Yeah, no. I was like, are you saying are you saying is this last year or
no? I'm talking about right now. I'm just looking at game one starters in the world in the wild card round. Like Gavin Williams for JJ Weatherholt. Are the Guardians making that trade? No. Nick Pivetta, Matthew Boyd, Garrett Crochet, Max Fried, Hunter Green, Blake Snell. No, nobody's making those moves. What I'm saying, that's what I'm with Sonny Gray is what I'm saying. Like Sonny Gray's not on that level.
All right,
Sonny Gray for all these guys is a game 3, game 4 starter.
All right, you're right. It's just listen. I love the idea. Did you just lose a light? I like the idea. And if I'm the Cardinals,
it's about to come back on right now too.
What'd you say?
I said yeah, and it's about to come back on right now too.
Oh,
yep.
I'm not saying teams would give up JJ for Gray. I'm saying if you have Gray, would you give him up for JJ? If you're an established baseball team, and that's my point. Like if you have Sonny Gray, you're not trading him straight up for JJ Weatherholt for a guy who's never seen a pitch in baseball. Also, the same.
JJ Weatherholt is, I think, more valuable to teams right now. Yeah, he's, as Skywalker says, he's declining.
I mean, most starting pitching in baseball only goes 5 innings. Like that's not a knock on Sonny Gray. That's a knock on starting pitching in baseball. Like that, I don't know if you can use that as a way to knock trade value in 2025. That's what a lot of starters do, especially guys like him who, again, I'm not saying, I don't know. It's if JJ even had just like the Mason Wynn, late August, September splash, I'd be like, yeah, sure. If you can see it against Major League Baseball pitching and you had any tape like that, I'd give it to you that a lot, like that majority of teams would pull the trigger and say, yeah, I'll give up that pitcher for that level of potential hitter. But man, without anything in the majors right now, today or in 2 weeks, I just don't know how many teams would pull that trigger.
Yeah, that's
just average to above average. Because if you're rebuilding, you're right. Yeah, Sonny Gray's not doing anything for you, especially at his age. How much does this conversation change if Sonny Gray's doing what he's doing and he's still 31 or 30? Does that change? Does that change how much this is, or does that change what this discussion would be for you?
Maybe, but again, it's the performance on the field, I think, is what we're essentially looking at overall. So.
All right, yeah. Fair enough. We have gotten an update, Joe Roderick, on the Blues roster. Jeremy Rutherford, our good friend, has dropped a tweet that we have here. Let's see. Let me get rid of that. Now you can see the full thing. Blues announced their official 25-26 roster. 14 forwards, Bukestad, Buchnevich, Holloway, Joseph, Kyrou, Neighbors, Shen, Snuggerud, Sundqvist, Suter, Texier, Thomas, Toropchenko, Walker, the 7 defenders, Broberg, Falk, Fowler, Kessel, Mayu, Parayko, and Tucker, and then, of course, Binnington and Hofer. And there's the note from Jeremy Rutherford that everyone, of course, is going to be asking about. This does not mean Lucic won't be on the roster at some point. He's on a PTO, and that can be extended. The team needed to be at 23 players by today. There is also some cap gymnastics as far as Krug's LTI. The Lucic situation appears to be fluid at this point. He had one big game, missed some time with multiple injuries. He had 1 goal and 8 hits in the Blues' final preseason game over the weekend. Another Blues victory as they finish with 2 in their preseason. They open up the regular season on Thursday night, facing off against the Wild. No huge surprises there, Joe, considering they can still, as Jeremy Rutherford says, they can still kind of extend the Lucic's conversation.
Yeah, that's he is the one player. Again, I'm far from being the Blues guy here on STL Sports Central and have no real insider business talking about it in any fashion. But he is somebody that I have had a lot of people ask me about and what his role or what his possibilities were of making the team. And as JR goes on to say, that we'll hear from Army tomorrow at 10 a.m. He'll talk about that. The biggest takeaway I get from seeing that roster and seeing that is that Oscar Sundqvist is listed on there after watching the video of him yesterday, having to be helped off the ice at practice. I know that there were a lot of Blues fans freaking out about that at the moment, thinking that you had lost one of your top contributors. And with him being on there again, that's one of those. Wait to hear from what Army has to say tomorrow about what the injury was and if he's going to be ready to go Thursday night.
Yeah, that would be it would be crappy for a lot of reasons. One of them, of course, being that they got through the entire preseason with the only injuries really being with Milan Lucic, and so to have one such a crucial player, he's the most veteran player on that fourth line, and he kind of really gives it all its all that veteran presence. He wins faceoffs. You got Walker, who's scrappy. He's a good defender up the middle, and then you got Alexei Toropchenko, who brings the highest ceiling on that fourth line. So that would be disappointing, but I understand why we could continue with Lucic, but also the way that Texier played last year. I know they had some issues with some injuries there. They were bothered by the fact that he wasn't available. It's one of those things where if you're that level of player, you got to be, you got to be able to go every single night to make yourself valuable. But he's legitimately, every single number of his was better under Montgomery, which the entire team was. So is that the entire team getting better and just an average player kind of going with it? Or is that a guy who found a niche under a coach who wants that style a little bit? I understand why the Blues want to go with that chance. But I was talking with Cam Jansen this morning on KLIS on Hot Take Central 2.0. And my question for him got down to just, if I would have asked you in July, when things were kind of settled with the roster or appeared settled after free agency, do you think this team needs a little bit more leadership? He's like, yeah, that would have been something I would have singled out of the gate in July after that thought process. And so part of the Lucic thing for me isn't just the physical part of things, because we know the physical game he has. We know what he's going to do on the fourth line. He's not a fast enough skater to be anything more than a fourth liner. So we know what he can bring there. But I do think it is interesting with a team that is still, fairly young. They have Parayko, they have Falk, they have Shen and Binner and things like that. But I do think this is a team that has retooled with a lot of young players. And so getting a mentality from a guy like Lucic, who's seen it all, I think that's also a reason why the Blues really wanted him to be on this roster. And that's the thing. Like when they made this move, they were apparently telling him, find a place. Which kind of sends a message about what they wanted to happen. And I think the leadership, the grit, the experience, those kind of things are things that I think the Blues wanted in their locker room this year. And that can't be forgotten when we start doing the roster math and things like that.
Yeah, and that's exactly what JR kind of points out too. Same thing with Krug and the long-term injury with him. It needed to be, you had to send in a 23-player roster today. And how many times do we see stuff like this with, for example, like the 40-man roster in baseball, or a roster, as they're making cuts down in training camp for football. It's, the same type of, as JR even says, roster gymnastics is a good way of putting it together, that there are people that are sitting in a room and they can look at that and they could say, hey, we send in these 23 guys. And we know that you have two others that we don't have put on this list, but are still under our control. So you're gonna play games like that with the roster. See what it looks like when we see who takes the ice Thursday night. See what it looks like 2 weeks from now.
I'm checking out with our good friends right now on DraftKings, where the crown is yours. And Joe, right now you can get the over/under for the Blues season points over/under at 92.5. Which is a really good number. Unfortunately, that's a tough one to pick. 92.5. Got about 3 days to think that one over. I think they would have. I think under the full season of Montgomery, I think they would have been at a 95-point pace. So can they keep that up for a full 82 games after doing that for 60? Does everyone improve to kind of get them to that 95-point pace? 92.5 right now on DraftKings Sportsbook, if you can get it. And if you can't right now, don't worry. You only have to wait a little bit longer, because our friends at DraftKings finally going to be available on this side of the river coming up on December 1st. Get ready, Missouri, because the wait is almost over. DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, is coming soon to the Show Me State, or the Show Me the Money State, and you can sign up today, and new Missouri customers can get $300 in bonus bets when DraftKings launches on December 1st. Download now and place a $5 bet when they go live. DraftKings Sportsbook brings you everything you need to elevate your game day, including live in-game betting, lightning fast payouts, and endless ways to get on the action, all right from your phone. That's how they became America's top-rated sportsbook app. When they officially go live in Missouri on December 1st, you'll be betting with the sportsbook app trusted by millions. Safe, secure, and has fast money withdrawals. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use that code right on your screen right there, STL Sports, and grab $300 in bonus bets with just a $5 bet when DraftKings Sports goes live on December 1st. That's code STL Sports in partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus, physically present in Missouri. Eligibility restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Exclude customers who redeem pre-launch sign-up, however. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos.
Right now, Blues are a plus 5,000 to win the Cup this year.
I like that. I know. So I think our boy Thomas Welsh got one there.
A $5 bet wins you $255 on
I like
that.
I like that.
They're kind of middle of the pack with that.
I always want to credit you for being brave and admitting what your unit size is.
Oh, I was going a little higher than normal on that one right there.
We love the honesty of a father.
Yeah.
We love the honesty of a father.
Yeah.
Taking care of a family.
This is entertainment purposes right here. Plus 750 for the Hurricanes is what you can get on that.
What can I get for them Oilers?
Oh, I just left that screen, but I can bring it right back up on let's see. Oilers are team futures. Oilers right now plus 850.
Oh, okay. Well, they are motivated because shock to everyone's system in the NHL midday today, Joe Roderick, as Connor McDavid signed a 2-year extension, $24 million AAV of 12, which means that he is now locked in with Edmonton for 3 more years, including this season, and at a very manageable number. People were talking about him potentially trying to pinch off 20 in free agency after taking one more bite at the cup this year in Edmonton. But no, he leaves money on the table, and they also used that money to sign a former Blues defenseman. Another former Blues defenseman gets big money. Jake Wallman pulls down 7 years for $7 million apiece for the Edmonton Oilers after he was traded there mid-season last year. Just all this movement going on up across the border.
It's I enjoyed all of the fake mock trades that we saw of what could bring Connor McDavid to your team. But yeah, that's not something we're going to be getting.
No, it's not going to happen. But I mean, and also this is crazy to me, Joe. 7 years, $7 million, so $49 million to Jake Wallman, former Blues defenseman. Earlier this offseason, we had Nico Mikkola, a former Blues defenseman, sign his $40 million deal across 8 years. And then right now, Vince Dunn, also a former Blues defenseman, is in the midst of a 4-year, $29.4 million deal with the Seattle Kraken. They were all on the Blues back in like 2021, just an insane amount of money, over $100 million committed to Nico Mikkola, Jake Wallman, and Vince Dunn, and not a dollar of it coming from the St. Louis Blues.
Again, and 2021, what was the Blues record that year?
Let me pull it up right now. That was 2021 Blues.
Not great, right? That wasn't a playoff team.
Yeah, because that was the year they went 2021, 2022. So 2020, 2021 was 63 points, finished fourth. And I believe all 4 of those guys were on this team. So yeah, it wasn't a great team. But I guess it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. So we got Vince Dunn. Let me see if I can find it here. Nico Mikkola and Jake Wallman. Yeah, 2020, 2021. Blues went 27, 20, and 9 for 63 points. Finished 4th in the NHL's West. And yeah, we're on a very good team. Yet all these guys are absolutely just cashing checks now with other teams. It's ridiculous.
Right. Yeah, it just makes no sense.
And really, this kind of turns the NHL on its head, because literally free agency was going to be, like you said, people were mocking up all these trades because the thought process was, if Edmonton lets them play this year and they don't win, they're just going to lose them for nothing, or what's the sign-in trade going to be, so on and so forth. Either way, he was going to sign for this new record. He was going to break open. Kirill Kaprizov obviously signs for $17 million with the Wild. Connor McDavid was going to go bigger than that. And then he takes a team-friendly deal to just keep on competing. Everyone thought that this whole Edmonton thing was going to be done, but apparently he's good to stay there and just keep trying to win. It's not a move you see very often, but not to do the whole, it's better when certain teams are good thing. But I do think it is something that can help the NHL when you have guys who are willing to take deals like this to try to win.
I would think so. I would agree with that. And I don't know. I mean, maybe it's a case. I'm sure the NHL would rather him be in a big American market, but
and the Players Association would rather him be pushing the numbers, I bet.
Yeah. So it's an interesting case study with him and what he's probably being told to do behind the scenes.
Yeah, the interesting case study is, I imagine that he's probably pissing off a lot of people with the money, because he's supposed to be pushing the money. Edmonton's happy. My thing is, man, trusting a franchise to keep building years after years after years and always just keep reinvesting that money. I respect somebody for doing it, but I hope he doesn't get screwed over. That's the thing is hopefully they reward him and they continue to try to win. The move for Wallman, I don't think is smart, but at least shows you that they're willing to spend the money and try to make the moves happen. Yeah. Let's keep moving on here because there was a wild weekend in college football. I didn't even put a single joke about Mark Sanchez in the title of the show, in the write-up of the show, or any of the titles of the segments of the show. I did zero Mark Sanchez jokes, but I'm going to open the college football segment talking about Mark Sanchez because that shit's insane, Joe. This is one of the wildest college football stories we've ever seen. And are you calling
it a college football story, or why are we calling it a college football story?
Because that's what I think about with Mark Sanchez. I don't think about him as a Jets quarterback.
I do. Butt fumble.
I now will never think about the butt fumble. I now will no longer. The butt fumble is now a thing that will die in the zeitgeist, because for me, Mark Sanchez will now be known as the guy who got stabbed trying to beat up an elderly truck driver.
Right. What's worse, butt fumble or being stabbed by a 70-year-old man?
I think we can all go with stabbed by a 70-year-old man on this one.
So yeah, it's just a lot of stuff.
You didn't get Tommy Pham on to ask him that question.
As the details kept coming out of the Mark
Sanchez, do you know anyone
thing
else who's been stabbed that we can get on this show and ask that question?
I don't think I do. No.
Well, then I thought it was a pretty good query.
Yeah. So this whole story is one of those crazy ones where the story comes out, you're like, damn, you stabbed. Like, and then you start reading it, you're like, oh wait, the other guy might die. Like, now Mark Sanchez is getting arrested and more. And then I start looking too, like, my mind goes immediately to, okay, like he was supposed to call a game on Sunday. Obviously that's not happening. Like, what do you do then if you're Fox? Like, what do you do? Like, how many people do you have on reserve that you could just call up and be like, hey, we need you in Indy by Sunday at noon. You got to call a football game.
I bet you there's somebody that they can just call who has a game on Saturday, who they're like, hey, when can you get to a plane to get to fly here?
That's 100% what they did. Brady Quinn filled in for him yesterday for that. So you have Brady Quinn filling it, replacing Mark Sanchez, calling a football game between how many different backup quarterbacks that are now starting for their respective teams. Just the levels of just random ass quarterbacks in that whole situation was wild.
I couldn't believe that story. I know he was in Indy to call the NFL game, but as soon as we switched to football, I was like, listen, I've avoided making jokes about it the entire show. I was good for 38 minutes. I need to dip into this story. And credit to the local journalists. Shocking that the local journalists were on the story first, had the correct angle of the story first, and have continued reporting on the story even after the national media left. It's almost like it happens like that every single time.
Yeah. As far as the college schedule went, though, this weekend, I got to say, I did not think there was a chance in hell that Penn State needed to be on any kind of upset alert this weekend. Coming off a bad loss, coming off a close loss.
No idea.
Another bad loss for James Franklin, losing to another top 10 team, not being able to close the deal. I did not think there was any chance they were going to go to UCLA and lose that game. Absolutely shocked by that in the manner that it happened in that game. Could not believe that at all.
I mean, UCLA is terrible. They are terrible this year. And
they had never led in a game this season. They had not had a lead in a game this season.
For Neuheisel to take over, and as just the offensive play caller, which I always love when there's that weird thing where he's not the offensive coordinator, he's the offensive play caller, because we've been shifting things around. He didn't know how to use the headset system until the afternoon as the game was starting. He was testing out and using the headset system for the first time. His dad, though, who is an analyst, of course, that was one of the coolest things of the weekend, Joe. And you as a father had to had to be getting a little misty-eyed watching those clips, I'm sure.
I saw when I saw the name, I thought like first I was like, oh, Rick? No, wait, that's not his.
No.
Like I saw I was like, that's not his name. No, the dad's Rick.
Mhm.
And then you look at him, spitting image of his dad, and then cool to see that. What was it? 12 years ago, he was carried off the field after they beat Texas, so they carried him off again. So it's a cool moment. I guess a win like that does move you up to the top of the list for when they start doing interviews for that job, but you're going to want to hit a home run with that. So I don't know if a kid is kind of tops of that, but all in all, it was a good story and just kind of piles on more to James Franklin and being that like, that's 2 losses in a row for him. That pretty much eliminates Penn State right now from any talk of the college football playoff. I know they dropped completely off the AP poll. I don't think they're in the top 25 right now.
Does James Franklin survive the season?
Season? If they have another bad loss, then no. I think if they do lose again, I think they still have Indiana on their schedule, right?
I was going to say they host Northwestern this weekend, then they go to Iowa, then they travel to Ohio State after they have an off day. They have an off weekend between Iowa and Ohio State. Then they host Indiana, go to Michigan State, host Nebraska, go to Rutgers. So what happens if they get absolutely just pounded? I mean, just absolutely pounded by Ohio State and then at home by Indiana. If they lose, I mean, if they have 4 losses on the schedule, then yeah, they might be done. He might be done. I mean, if they get pounded by Ohio State, is he there against Indiana, or do they try to get a dead cat bounce against Indiana at home?
I do think I think 4 losses he might be done. I think they move on.
I'm saying between that. I'm saying let's say solid 21 point wins against Northwestern in Iowa. If he gets absolutely just pounded by 40 points by number 1 Ohio State in Columbus, is he fired on the tarmac? And do they try to get like an interim coach bounce against Indiana at home the next week by firing him after getting pounded by Ohio State?
It had to be a real bad loss.
Yeah, it would have to be.
It would. I think you're saying blowout would be the only way, I would think.
I hate speculating on a man's job, but I can't help it. You mentioned the poll shakeup. Penn State and Texas are both out of there. Absolutely insane. The number 1 and 2 teams from the preseason are out by this point in the schedule already. Mizzou all the way up to the number 14 team in the poll, and they are obviously now poised potentially for a big jump if they can pull off the upset this weekend against Alabama.
Yeah, that's you got to put them in the top 10 if they beat Alabama.
We were talking about that today. So if you look at the ranking right now, the question is, does a 6-0 Texas Tech, who is sitting at 10 right now, do they get bumped up to 8 if Bama loses to Mizzou, or does Mizzou jump all the way to 8 and Tech with their soft ass schedule doesn't get the bump up there? The other question is also,
okay, look at it this way then. So okay,
5-win Georgia, Tennessee, or LSU stay ranked above Mizzou if Mizzou takes down Bama? They shouldn't.
All
but
right, if you have it in front of you right now, so let me just put it this way. Let me just look at it this way. Look up who Tennessee, LSU, and Georgia play this weekend.
Georgia plays Auburn, Tennessee plays South Carolina, and LSU plays Tennessee plays Arkansas, LSU plays South Carolina. None of them play big teams. Like I haven't.
Mizzou has to be in front of Alabama, and that's a 2-loss Alabama, so they have to fall far off the list. Mizzou would jump over Georgia Tech because I don't know who the hell Georgia Tech's playing this weekend, but it's got to be the quality
Georgia
of opponents.
Tech is playing Virginia Tech. Okay,
not as good as an opponent as what Mizzou's playing. So, yeah, maybe they don't jump into the top 10 over all those teams, but that's. Yeah.
Do they jump forward? Do they jump over Texas Tech if Texas Tech wins? Like, do they?
No,
really
because
jump more spots?
I think Texas Tech still holds off all those. It would be Texas Tech followed by 4 SEC teams.
Texas Tech followed by Mizzou, Georgia. Oh, ooh, crap. Wait, that's the AP. Sorry. Does Mizzou just? I just feel like this is. I know how this story goes. Mizzou beats Alabama, and Georgia still is ranked at 8th at 5-1. Texas Tech goes to 6-0 and doesn't move, and Mizzou's ranked 10th overall.
I wish just part of.
I've seen this movie before.
Yeah, Alabama would be in the 20s if they lost. What would be really funny and very. I mean, you as a Mizzou guy, and I think Brendan Schaefer would agree with this, and all the other Mizzou people, that if Alabama had no losses on the year and that was their first loss, they would still be ranked ahead of Mizzou if Mizzou beat them this weekend.
Absolutely, I have zero doubt in that. Are you kidding me?
You can't do that with a 2-loss team, though. But it would have been really funny to see them try to pull that shit with a 1-loss team.
Not even surprised. Okay, quick question. Have you ever seen a quarterback practice his kneel downs in pregame warmups?
No, but man, that's a bad look when it when it happens. Okay. Yeah.
I just want to see if I was overreacting about thinking about that, or if I saw it in the moment and I shook my head and thought about it a couple times after they lost that game. It was a good game between Vandy and Alabama. I'll give Vandy some credit. I think Mizzou can beat them both, but I thought it was a solid game overall.
Yeah, I think they fought towards the end, came back a little bit on it, but there was no doubt in my mind that Alabama was going to. I think I said 2 touchdowns they were going to win by on the show on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I do one thing I do have to say about the Alabama thing, because B-Shave had a Bama fan chirping him, and the guy was there saying, you're an idiot if you don't think that the Bama run defense has gotten better over the year. And so I did a little research. Over the last 2 games, the Bama run defense has allowed runs of 24, 29, 43, 43, 21, 65, and 36. That's just the last 2 games. Joe, that sounds like the St. Louis Rams circa like 2013 with the way they used to let running backs break off 20-yarders against them. I know the Bama defense, a couple of those runs, the 21, 65, and 36 on the back end, were in the first half against Vandy, and they were missing one of their best defensive players for a targeting penalty that he got called against Georgia. But, I mean, Georgia was ripping them off. I know that Mizzou's not Georgia, but they're better than Vanderbilt. Ahmad Hardy's the best back in the nation, or the conference, if not the nation. He's putting up numbers like it at least. So, like, let's square those things out and say, I think Mizzou can run against Alabama, and that's why it's interesting to me that the Missouri line has moved so much. It started off at 6. It immediately moved, 6 points, giving up for Bama, -6 for Bama. It immediately moved to 6.5. And now, Joe, it has moved all the way to, as of this morning, it had moved all the way to Bama -3.5. And I have not checked it again. Is it still at -3.5? It's at 2.5. Get the fuck out of here. That's crazy. This game's moving like, I mean, it opened before the Vandy game at 6, then up to 6.5, and then down to 3.5. Now and then since this morning, I checked it about 8 a.m. It's gone from, as of 8 a.m. Monday, to 3:55. It moved from 3.5 to 2.5. That's crazy. All right.
Yeah, I think it was plus 150 for Mizzou to win outright when they opened the other day. So, yeah,
I don't know how to react to that kind of movement.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I really am, and I hope Mizzou, facing a real legit opponent for what seems like the first time this year, I really hope we don't see them come out the way they did against A&M last year.
That's so much money coming in on Mizzou. Yeah. That's so, like, it's gone from 6 to 2.5. That's so much money coming in. Oh my Lord. I'm kind of worried now, I'll be honest. Yeah, that worries me a little bit, Joe. I'm officially freaked out about this one. The other thing that happened in local college football, the Fighting Illini get another big win. They look good. Hank Beatty's an absolute monster. The Illini bouncing back from that Indiana game, moving back up in the poll. That offense is legitimately fun to watch. He's ready to pull out all the stops at any point in any part of the game. Illinois is a fun watch this year, no doubt.
It is. Again, Saturday you have both Eddie. I don't understand how the schedule makers do this on
they're
Saturday.
bad at their jobs.
I don't understand how college football has both the you have games this weekend of number 8 against number 14. That's an 11 a.m. game. Number 1 versus 17 is an 11 a.m. game this weekend. Like, what's your primetime game this weekend?
Yeah,
there are no. Indiana, Oregon is the game of the week. That's your 2:30 CBS game. But there's just nothing at night this weekend. That's maybe there's going to be an upset or two, but nothing that really excites me.
Yeah, they really kind of to screw it. It ended up being fun, but not because the schedulers got it right the last week. So that's a thing. Maybe we just got to lean on the fact that college football always provides sucker. The manna from heaven that is dumbass coaches losing games they shouldn't and players pulling out plays they never should. That always falls into our laps, Joe. That's the beauty of college football. One way or another, we always get good games.
I guess I'll trust him. Okay.
Joe Roderick is obviously feeling extremely confident about what college football is going to give us. But either way, no matter what happens, if it's a Mizzou game, if it's an Illini game, at the end of it, if you have fun with it, you can come here to STL Sports Central and you can watch a post game show where we break it all down. We give out player or match of the or. I can't talk right now. We give out little awards for money moments of the game. We have some fun. We break things down. We get in different people like Howard Richards into the Mizzou post game, the Illini post game. If you guys haven't listened to it yet, the Illini guys do a fantastic job breaking down the Illini games in ways that you probably just haven't heard in other post games. I mean, they're breaking down, why the run game, why the power run game isn't working, but the zone game's working great. I mean, they're getting into the nitty gritty of Illini football. So if you're a big Illini fan, tune into those Illini guy post games every time the Illini are playing. After they wrap up the games, really almost 5 minutes after the game's over, they're in there. They got a rotating cast of characters. They'll bring you insight from the post game interviews with Bielema because they have a writer who sits into the post-game stuff and comes in later into the post-game shows. So I know we have Blues post-games starting up on Thursday night because the Blues open up, Joe. So there's a lot of special things going on here at STL Sports Central.
Yeah, Blues on Thursday and then again on Saturday for the weekend. Blues post-game shows after all 82 games this season.
How we did? We went 161 out of 162 on Cardinals, right?
Yeah, that damn back-to-back doubleheader with no break in between kept us from having post-game shows after every single Cardinal game this year.
I guess we can't do we do like a quick one on TikTok next year if that happens?
Yeah, we can make a reel. That's what we can do.
We can do real post game shows coming up next season on STL Sports Central. Like Joe said, though, when it comes to college football, Mizzou and Illinois, we have the Blues starting up on Thursday. That's a home game against the Wild. On Saturday, it's a big away game right out of the gate facing off against the Dallas Stars. So a lot of special things coming up here on STL Sports Central. College football, college basketball coming up. We're going to have a lot of things going on with the Missouri Tigers and the SLU Billikens, and we can start dialing into the St. Louis Blues because they are coming up. Randy Carricker returns tomorrow. Thank you very much to Joe Roderick for stepping. Oh, nope. Point the other way, Matt. For stepping in today on the show. This has been the Randy Carricker Show featuring Brooke Grimsley on STL Sports Central, brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook, where the crown is yours. We're back tomorrow at 3:02. We'll talk to you then, St. Louis.